Folks, we finally got the announcement. Warhammer Age of Sigmar 4th edition is right around the corner, and we've got Skaven, we've got Stormcast in the starter box, and we've got a brand new set of rules for Age of Sigmar 4th edition. Some people are a little skeptical, some people are excited. I'm a little of both, but I think I'm more excited than skeptical. So I kind of want to talk about that today and give my reasons for why that is. So first off, we know what we know, right? It's Skaven versus, I almost said Age of Sigmar. It's Skaven versus all of Age of Sigmar. It's Skaven versus Stormcast, and we haven't seen any new models yet, but we pretty much were shown what the new models are going to be. So it seems like from the trailer people have put together, it's going to be, I think, like a new war machine, that the one that leaked, I made a video about. It's going to be a new rat ogre, which is fantastic. Probably clan rats. It looked like Jezzails, which part of me thought they were going to get rid of Jezzails. They're actually, it looks like they're going to be keeping Jezzails. That's pretty crazy. It's not that crazy, but it was one of those things where I'm like, maybe that's a unit that they could get rid of, but no, it looks like they're keeping them, so that's great. And you know, there's like your standards. There's like the Grey Seer, the Engineer. I think the Engineer's probably got to be there because that model's like 800 years old, man. Like, come on. I think the current Grey Seer looks all right, but you know, I'll take any new models, right? It happened with Seraphon last year. I'll take anything, man. So that, and then Stormcast, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care. There's new Stormcast, but it seemed, and Rat Ogres, like I mentioned, thank God, it's been too long. And then there's likely more to come, just like there was with Seraphon and plenty of other stuff. So I'm excited. But what they did announce is that this is an index edition. So just like 40K had with their index, right? Sigmar is now going to have. So all the current books are going to be completely useless. If you just bought your Flesh Eater Court books, I'm sorry. It's going to be useless in a few months. I mean, you can always go back and just play 3rd edition, right? That is always an option. You can just say, you know what? I don't care about the new edition. I'm just going to play 3rd edition. You can do that. You can even go back and play 2nd edition. You can do whatever you want, right? But most people are probably going to play the new one. But I was genuinely hoping for an index because I'm somebody that's played a lot of Age of Sigmar. I've played, I've pretty much played 1 to 2 games a week, every week. So that adds up, right? Plus, this is going back for years. So I played a decent amount of 2nd edition. I played a lot of 3rd edition. I've played all the different, states of the edition, like the Monster Handbook, the Galician Veterans and Champions, and now the Primal Dice and everything, right? I think what I really disliked about the current edition was battle tactics. I didn't mind them at first, but it felt like they got out of hand, especially with the book battle tactics, where you had to know all of your opponent's book battle tactics, and then your battle tactics, and you had the generic battle tactics. There was just too many battle tactics. And then grand strategies always just seemed kind of like nobody even wanted to pick it. People'd forget to pick it. Just seemed dumb. I think going in the way of a 40K style secondary objective mission pack is much better. I think it's more fun. I think being able to especially have cards that you can draw and be like, let's see, draw this one, right? And swap it up so you can, you know what the objectives are, but you don't know what you're going to get. I think it just makes it a much more fun and sporadic type of game. It feels more like an actual war battle where things aren't always predictable, instead of like, I know turn 1, I'm going to cast this thing for my battle tactic, then I'm going to do it. And it just felt very formulaic. And I didn't really like that about the game. The next thing that I dislike about current Age of Sigmar would be the mortal wounds. There's a lot of mortal wounds. And the reason there's so many mortal wounds is because everybody's war scrolls and profiles have gotten insane. If you're not like 2s -2 minimum for like 2-3 damage, you suck. Like... or you're dealing mortal wounds. And it just got to a point where if you're like 4s your profile was terrible. Like, and it didn't feel good. It doesn't feel great to play something like that where everything's just so overpowered and not tuned very well. And I think the power creep just caught up to Age of Sigmar. It kept doing it to a point where it was like, all right, it's crazy now. So I think what I'm looking forward to is them kind of retuning everything, especially I've been playing a lot of Warhammer Old World recently, and I think it's much more fun having a system that feels very, you know, it doesn't even have to be strength and toughness, but a system that favors unit rolls. So like I have an anti-cavalry unit and it's going to specialize in killing cavalry, right? I have an anti-monster unit. It's going to specialize in killing monsters, right? Stuff like that. And currently it doesn't feel like there's very defined roles. It's just this thing does a lot of mortal wounds. It can kill anything, right? And so I think they are going to go down that path, and I'm pretty excited to see, and especially because there's some armies that I have. Well, I have a lot of armies, but a lot of the armies that I do have, I don't even really like playing some of them because they just feel bad to play other people against. Like for example, playing Seraphon, right? I can play Starborn Seraphon, and I can be like, I'm Lord Croak. Here we go, and you just vomit up like 50 magical mortal wounds. And your opponent like dies, and you're like, well, I'm glad we carved out some time this week to play. Right? It's not fun. And so I think it'd be nice if everything did feel more balanced. Now, I think the issue everybody has, right, is I think everybody's on board with that, right? Like, yeah, we want some more balance, some more fun, you know, not as power crazy, you know, a much more warlike game. But is it going to be like 40K where everybody feels the same, right? It almost feels like WoW to a point too, where classes got very much to the point where they all felt the same, right? But I have more faith in the Age of Sigmar team than the 40K team, I think, because the Age of Sigmar team has already showed me, I think time and time again, that they are actually pretty good at creating a thematic feeling army. And I thought a lot of the 3rd edition books were actually done really well for thematic purposes. There were some stuff I disagreed with them on, with like abilities and wounds and, you know, stat profiles and stuff like that. But for the most part, a lot of times it felt like they really did capture the essence of playing the army. You know, things like Beasts of Chaos ambushing from all over. Things like the Skaven just blowing themselves up still. Although that book was kind of like a 2.5 book because they were getting the 4.0 treatment, right? I really love Nurgle. I think Nurgle feels great where it's just the 5-up ward all around. You got the all these debuffs going off. You're just really tanky. You're slow, but you're hard to kill. I thought they really did a good job with Nurgle. There's some books where I think they could have done a much better job, such as Orcs. I hope Orcs are so much better. Orcs are just... especially Cruel Boys, very bad. And then I thought Sylvaneth was a really good book. I liked a lot. The Deepken were kind of like okay. Fire Slayers were kind of meh. Like there's some books, especially in the past, like Gitz was insane. Like the Gitz book was just insane for a while. So I do think they have a much better capability to do that. And I think part of that is because 40K is so much like, it's just very shooting heavy, a lot of Space Marines. Half the armies in the game are just Space Marines. And I feel like in Sigmar, it's easier to do it because there's so many different styles of armies, right? It's like you have the ogres that are slamming into people. You got the lizards that are casting magic and riding dinosaurs. You have the Nurgle that are just diseased and like slow, but they're hard to kill and like wearing you down with attrition. And there's so many cool styles, and I think they have a much easier time playing off of that as well. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy. Plus, if you listen to them talk, some of the things they talk about kind of making simpler are things that make sense. So, for example, making all the musicians and the banners, the standard banner bearers, or whatever you want to call it, all give like the same buff. So, for example, maybe the standard bearer gives +1 bravery, and then the musician gives +1 to charge, right? And everybody's does that. And I think that's great because I hated trying to remember what my guy... I was like, I think these guys get this, but I don't remember if that's this unit, and that's just... Now it's nice because that's how Warhammer Old World works. It's just, I have a standard bearer. He gives me +1 combat res, and sometimes some other stuff. That's really it. It's just there for like +1 combat res. Or like I have my musician, which I don't even really take musicians, but when you do, if you tie, boom, you get that. You know what you're getting, right? And I think that is really nice to know what you're getting from some of those specific things. Now, I don't want to go full Warhammer Old World, where I'm like, all right, I have this ability, and I don't know what that is. I got to go look it up over here, and then and you don't even know what your abilities are until you've played like 20 games of Old World, and then you're like, all right, I know what cleaving blow is, and I know what Blood Rage is, and I know what Blood Greed is. I know what Primal Fury is, but oh wait, is Blood Greed and Primal Fury, and you're just like, there's still some stuff I'm like trying to process with that, but I don't think they have to go that far. But I think for that type of stuff, it's fine. You know, I don't want them to go like full, you know, remove the flavor from all the profiles and everything, and I don't think they will. So the main thing I wanted to say was they talked about how they, you know, they themselves play the game and they themselves love the lore and they themselves are, you know, really into it, right? And so they also want to make a good game and they want it to feel very thematic and all these things. So I do have faith that they're going to do a good job, and I'm genuinely excited to see what they do. So maybe I'm just being extremely optimistic. I don't know, but let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just happy we're getting new Skaven. I'm pumped for the new Skaven. It's Hot Rat Summer 2.0. It was Hot Rat Summer a few years ago when they did the Skaven book release. I called it Hot Rat Summer. Now it's Hot Rat Summer 2.0, man. Let's go. So, in fact, it's Hot Sigmar Summer. We got every single army getting an index. And listen, I have like almost every army. I'm gonna have to like read through every index and be like, which one of these do I think is fun, which seem bad? Because there's also gonna be issues where like maybe for example, the Engine of the Gods sucks ass right now. It's terrible. I'm hoping they change that, make it really good. But you never know if they make it good. It feels thematic, and then the points are really bad. But the good thing about points is you can adjust the points, right? Usually when you make a war scroll and the war scroll's bad, it's hard to adjust the war scroll and do all that. But you know, point values can be adjusted pretty easily. So, I'm hopeful. You know, please give Croxigors some love as well. They need it in the new edition. Thank you, Games Workshop. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know your comments in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time talking in front of my shitty green screen. Okay? Okay. See ya.